What's goody to any and everybody who may be listening? Now, this is part 4 of the series of I'm talking about source fractals, and I'm talking about the feminine aspect, archons, trying to take them out using this AIDS virus. Now, this had been done to the younger source fractals, the fractals that were not as experienced. I'm not going to say not as powerful, because we are of the Most High. We are all powerful. But I'm talking about the ones that were less experienced. Now, I'm one of the most ancient ones. I'm like the first one that broke off. Okay. So the archons capture or attempt to capture source fractals into these nets, and they use the fear that these fractals emit in order to absorb it, which is what the Dracos are experts at, absorbing energy, negative energy. They are experts at absorbing the fear. So this is what they used to, they absorbed it and used it to create these illusions, such as these simulations. Okay. Eventually, it gets to the point where the soul is so little. In my instance, I had to come into this boy body after leaving the sacral. After dying in that lifetime, these individuals putting those black orbs into me, which is their DNA, filling me up with that reptilian DNA and sucking out my light sparks. Okay? At the end of that lifetime, my soul was so little, and here we had these Dracos, this brotherhood sitting around chanting and doing incantations and pulling my energy hither and thither, back and forth, and so I wound up landing into the stomach of Sharita, or better known as Esmeralda. That's her name within that society. She's I guess she's supposed to be some sort of princess, bitch boo. Okay. So that's how I got born down through that family, down through a vagina, because prior to that I had not ever gotten born down through a vagina. But anyway, and into a boy body, and the molestations, and the gay, which not only it's meant to take out the light, okay, because of how the Dracos view femininity in general. They do not value femininity even in a woman. All they want is your motherfucking pussy. That's all they want. They don't care nothing about your femininity at all, baby. Okay? So of course, when it comes to any man that's going to exhibit those qualities, okay, they of course don't like that. And then they make it all about sex. It's made all about sex when okay. Now, this is where that AIDS shit come into play, because it don't matter. It in the eyes of the Creator, the Most High, it don't matter. Gay, straight, it don't matter. Because anyway, this is not real. These bodies are not. They are physical, but this is a simulation. Because outside of these simulations, we are fractals. We are source fractals. Now, the AIDS virus, however, is meant to take out these source fractals by having them in a boy body. Many feel like they don't have a choice but to go into boy bodies, just like me, because of that vicious raping, the kidnapping, the being thrown into locked into a cellar, and sex trafficked. I could not have possibly came back through a female body. This was for my own protection. So we got some more decrees and declarations to do, because see, these black orbs, they reach their peak. This reptilian DNA really, it didn't reach a peak, but like this was where it really started to pick up in the heart chakra. Myself as the coven leader, and me and Aromala having that damn sex magic, and he was possessed by that beast. But it don't matter whether he was possessed or not, because Aromala is still Aromala and a part of that draconian society, which I'm hearing some sort of supposed to be a prince or whatever. So this is where you had the Danielle, okay, the girl who played my sister in this lifetime, who I created really because of me being that celestial body up in the crown chakra. She came through me, even though she is a part of that society. She came through me, and I was looking at her, and I realized something was weird or something was off about her. So it made me put that speck there. I put that speck in her, within her energy, because I can't say soul, because she didn't really have a soul. But I put that speck right there in her eye in order to bookmark it, so that I would remember that instance as we traveled down the body. Lo and behold, there she was. She showed up in that lifetime as the coven, when I was the coven leader, and she was raggedy and wearing rags, and also quite ugly. Okay, now they put on a stunt in the show. This incubus and her put on a stunt in the show because she wanted that incubus real bad, but he won't stunt her. I mean, because he was up on mother. However, now that was a stunt in the show. They was putting on shows and trying to manipulate the way I was thinking and things of this nature. Okay, that was not real. So anyway, eventually it got to the point where there was this scandal, of course, because there is always a scandal or something at the end. There was a scandal at the end of these lifetimes, and humiliation rituals, and the girl came to kick me while I was down, and I had my soul energy or some fractals, some light sparks in a trinket, where she came to kick me while I was down and ingested all of the light sparks that I had left, or my juices up in that trinket that I was conserving, because I knew at this time I had to conserve. I was no longer the Gale. I was no longer Lilith. I was no longer the ruler of rulers. I had become the head of a coven, which I was manipulated into being anyway, but that's another story. So, after she consumed this, my juices out of that trinket, she then commenced to conjuring up all of those black orbs, which came flying into my energy field, my auric and energy field. I remember being so full of rage and real mad that this little bitch had the nerve to do that. I remember being frozen, and I could not move because of those black orbs coming on in and freezing my light sparks into place. But they began to suck the energy out. Gonna have to go ahead and call back that energy, call back my light sparks and fragments. I decree and declare that any and all of my energy, light sparks, and soul fragments that got caught up within the midst of that little bitch wielding that trinket and that drinking my juices to conjure up them black orbs, and the rage that I was feeling, I decree and declare that any of my light sparks and soul fragments that got caught up in the midst of that be released, removed, freed, and brought on back home to the mother, the father, and the child, where they belong. Okay? Now, Let's move on down to, because I stayed in the heart chakra and I became the madame of this brothel, and I don't even know why the fuck I became the madame anyway, because really, looking back, I didn't like one of these bitches. But it was something about me needing to be needed at this time that I'm just going to go ahead and call all my light sparks back from that. I decree and declare that any and all of my light sparks and soul fragments that got caught up within the midst of needing to be needed and being that madame, and even my light sparks that got caught up with in any of them bitches' pussies because they was doing sex magic and trapping light sparks. I decree and declare that all of my light sparks coming up out of them pussies too, and brought on back home to the mother, the father, and the child. Okay, now let's move on down to the solar plexus. Now this is again where a lot of my energy, a lot of my light sparks that got caught up within these emotions. Now here, this is where Orumula was a tree person. So again, if you can imagine a palm tree, he was a big palm tree with dreads. At that, he had dreads as well. He kept dreads throughout the simulation, mind you. So the leaves, you can imagine the leaves being dreads. He was a giant, but he wasn't a giant, like the ruler giant. He wasn't that much of a giant, but he was a giant. Okay, and I loved him. I really did love Orumula in that state. Okay, but it was my light sparks that he used to assume that form. I'm gonna have to go ahead and call my light sparks back from that. I decree and declare that any and all of my light sparks that got caught up or lost, any of my soul fragments that got caught up in the midst of Orumula being that tree person, him using my light sparks to assume that form, be released, freed, and brought on back home to the mother, the father, and the child. So at this time, there was also underground access. We had access to the underground. Now, we could come in and out of this underground, but I stayed up under that ground with Orumula. It was me, and he had a couple of other tree people down there too. And these girls, the umbrella girls. Now let's just go ahead and call our sparks back from them bitches. I decree and declare that any and all of my light sparks and soul fragments that got caught up within the midst of them motherfucking trifling ass umbrella girls and the rest, them other tree people, all the tree people, be released, removed, freed, and brought on back home to the mother, the father, and the child. To go up in them motherfuckers and take my shit up out of all of them and bring them home. Okay? So we would be down there constantly having sex. And I mean all day and all night, child. And the sensation from it was, ooh. And that's what caused me to be up on it all day. And I was riding all day and all night. Okay? And there were souls. There was an explosion of new souls being born at this time as well. But again, these black orbs and the reptilian DNA, okay, contaminated these birthings. And so you have more of these motherfucking Dracos coming into the projection, or you know, the earths that would follow. Because again, these earths at every level are different. The earth in the crown was different than the earth at the third eye and so forth and so on. The earths the vibration of the earth lowered as we lowered down the body. Okay. So let's go ahead and do our decrees. Let's go ahead and call our light sparks back from all that damn sex and that energy and that power that was being generated, that was being siphoned at that time. Let's go ahead and call them light sparks back, baby, because mama, papa's child ready for you. I decree and declare that any and all of my light sparks that were lost or stolen in the midst of all that sex down there, up underground, are returned, are released, removed, freed, and returned to the mother, the father, and the child. Okay? Now let's move on. We are still in the solar plexus. But see, this invasion. There's always something. Except for this one. What's supposed to happen in this one already happened. I'm already healing from it. I'm healing from what happened here. But see, there was an invasion. Now the girls came, here they are, they swooping on down in, they coming with these motherfucking helicopters and things of this nature. And I recall myself having to go up underground, run up underground, and get the attention of this creature. Now that was this creature that I was very close to during this lifetime. He resided up under the ground. I think his name was Ishmael, something like that. I forgot his name. Okay. But let's go ahead and call our light sparks back and our fractals, our fragments back from this situation. I decree and declare that any and all of my light sparks that got caught up, any and all of my soul fragments that got caught up within the midst of that invasion, all the fear and everything of this nature, be released, removed, and brought on home to the mother, the father, and the child. Now, let's go ahead and talk about this. There was also that creature who decided to make an appearance. The old one that I was talking about way back, that old man with that gray cotton hair and them warts everywhere, who showed up and cursed me. Where again we have these black orbs flying into my energy field and into my auric field and freezing my sparks into place. Let's go ahead and do our decrees and declarations. I decree and declare that any and all of my light sparks, all of my energy, any and all of my fragments, my soul fragments that got caught up within the midst of that curse, that were frozen into place, be released, removed, freed, and brought on back home to the mother, the father, and the child. This is permanent across all realms, timelines, and dimensions. Okay. Now, let's head on. Let's leave this lifetime. Now we're going down into the sacral. Now this is where these orishas. Let's talk about these motherfucking orishas one more time, because now they down here in the root chakra and wants to be this African religion that false shit. They wants to be orishas and them spirits down there. They got the motherfuckers venerating them when they were at first superheroes up there in that solar plexus, or even prior to solar plexus. They went from being superheroes to being these deities. Using my light sparks at that. Using my energy. Let's go ahead and call our light sparks back. I decree and declare that any and all of my light sparks that got caught up within the midst of any and all of these orishas be released, removed, freed, and brought on back home to the mother, the father, and the child. The Trinity. There's only one. And can't nobody duplicate it. Okay? Okay, so let's go ahead on. Let's fast forward a little bit to the end of that lifetime where, baby, I showed back up as Lilith. I did. And these Orishas, these motherfuckers that had to call themselves Orishas. It was 3 of them. I remember 3 or 4 of them cornering me, and throwing me down into a motherfucking snow globe, which would mark my entrance into the sacral. Them cornering me and absorbing. I think they absorbed too. And then they threw me down into a motherfucking snow globe. Okay? Let's go ahead and call our light sparks back from that. Okay? I decree and declare that any and all of my light sparks soul fragments that got caught up within the midst of these motherfucking fraudulent Orishas cornering me and throwing me down into that motherfucking snow globe be released, removed, and brought on back home to the mother, the father, and the child. Okay, there's only one of them, and that's me. Thank you. Bye-bye.